it's a sprawling agenda, and you got to be clear. This is what we care about. I actually think that I would emphasize. I think the infrastructure. They won't call it this, but I'll use this term. But infrastructure for development, the infrastructure for the global economy, the leveraging of limited public dollars into multiples of private dollars. That is an agenda that's good for the world. It's an agenda that plays directly into American strengths in finance, American strengths in, just a whole host of industries. It can play a bit complementary into Chinese and other countries' strengths, but more America's than elsewhere. And it's an agenda, if really pursued, will grow jobs and all good things back in America, but also would be enthusiastically endorsed by the broader group of the G20, and it would reinforce purpose at some of those. And this is a question whether the administration wants to, but some of the multilateral organizations. So the World Bank's agenda is effective. It's a big part of that agenda. So putting their own frame in and around that, I think, makes a lot of sense. I've got two others, but I'm worried that we're not going to have enough time for the audience to ask questions. So
very diplomatic. All right. One last question before we open it up to the group. I believe yesterday Canada joined some European countries in recognizing Palestinian statehood. What do you expect that to accomplish?
Well, I think the first thing to say is this is consistent with our policy since 1947. Every Canadian government, whether of whatever political stripe, has supported a two-state solution, as many other countries have. What we have been seeing, first because of the acts of these heinous acts of Hamas, but then other in terms of response, is that prospect is receding before our eyes. Okay, so the idea of waiting until all of the conditions are in place for a free and viable Palestinian state committed to peace and security side by side with the state of Israel, is what I've called a Zionist Palestinian state, which is what we want. Those conditions being in place, keeping the concept there on the shelf, when it is the avowed policy of the Israeli government that there will never be a Palestinian state. That is the policy of the current Israeli government, and their actions are consistent with that policy. And I can just concentrate on what's going on in the West Bank, without touching Gaza. So what we're looking to accomplish is to keep that front and center, to be with a host of influential but not decisive countries. So we're alongside the Kingdom of Saudi, not in the recognition, but as part of this process. Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, France, UK, Australia, Qatar, Egypt, others, Norway, actively trying to create conditions at a minimum for a ceasefire, obviously, and then a peace process. That's part of that. And it's not. We're not doing that. We're under no illusions that this is any sort of panacea, but it's necessary, in our judgment. And the judgment of most other countries in the world, that we have to push on this now because, as I say, the possibility, in absolute violation of the UN Charter and in absolute violation of international law, of self-determination for the Palestinian peoples is being erased. So we're doing what we can, but recognizing the limitations.
All right.